an insight I think for me is always how quickly we get desensitized, even while we're providing service for people with disabilities and the CPA. And it's always important to recognize that we need to continue being in the wheelchair or whatever environment they experience, and so that we can appreciate their challenges and then work towards minimizing whatever we can.
What were some of the things you noticed this morning, just, leaving our building and negotiating the parking lot, for example? Was there any particular things that surprised you in terms of the difficulty?
I think it really is the simple stuff. One is, where the location of the automatic door openers. They're not always easy to access, and yet the whole purpose of having them is to make it easier. And things like that. We always talk about slopes and how, we talk about the one in 12 or even the one in 20, which is really 8% or 5% grade. And yet we were just doing probably what was roughly maybe a 2 or 3% grade, and most of the people were struggling, and it really, I think, shows that there's a lot of work still to be done. And these type of events that you hold, as the CPA has done this week, really go further into helping people understand how difficult it is, and what probably is required are more champions to make sure systems, services are all accessible.
Talk about sort of any insights you gained this morning, just in terms of the orientation of working around the parking lot.
It wasn't a big deal, except when we had to go into the boardroom, and there, one of the problems, and even coming into my office, is the extra space. The biggest struggle was, and even Judy says, "Oh, is there going to be enough room to get by the photocopying machine?" And I had to put my fingers up and run on the rubber to get through. But those are the challenges that you bang your fingers. And again, the biggest challenge that I find is whether or not you have automatic doors. It's so difficult, especially you've got the little threshold as you're going over the door. And if you're trying to hold the door and to move ahead, and then it's smacked in the fingers, and it's a different world. And I mean, it's like everything that we often don't realize what we have until we lose it.
In terms of your neighborhood where you live, what would be the challenges that you would experience there, do you think, if you took your chair into your home community?
Off the top of my head, I am not sure whether there's a cutaway. I'll have to look at that tonight. It's amazing the little things that you bypass when it doesn't affect you, but when you all of a sudden you've got someone with you, all of a sudden, wow, here's this barricade.
About what was sort of the first thing that struck you when you came to work using the chair?
So for today, well, for myself, I was a little nervous. I've never done anything like this before. But once I kind of got in, I realized I had to rely on everybody around me.
Do you think now, having spent time in the chair, has your perspective about how accessible the city is changed?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I guess you see the signs everywhere. Accessible this and, lift here and this and that. I encountered some that maybe weren't working, and it's different to kind of see everything at this level too. Something, I had a hard time using the photocopier. I couldn't reach the feeder. Yeah, I kind of talked to our HR department and said, this would be something good for everybody to do. I was very happy to, have this experience, because it's one thing to think about it, and we were talking about it yesterday, and the associates were asking me, oh yeah, tomorrow is your day, and so we'll do this in the lobby and have fun. And we kind of, were saying, yeah, it'll be fun, I'll get to learn how to do this and stuff. And then all it took was one person to say, we're all standing here talking about it, but could you imagine if something like this had happened to any one of us for whatever reason, and just how, instantly your life would change. So, yeah.